low account of the true state of affairs as it is on the ground. Sticking with that theme, I want to have a brief conversation with Patrick Obath. He's an energy, attractives and engineering consultant, just to get his take on this looming fuel shortage in the backdrop of the oil importation scandal. Patrick Obath, I believe you can hear me loud and clear. Good evening. Thank you so much for making time. Now, let's start with a little bit of history, because the government agencies maintained that fuel stock is adequate, and hence they shot down instances of panic buying among Kenyans. But we've seen significant challenges amongst motorists when it comes to accessing fuel in various parts of the country. Without mincing your words, Obath, what are we experiencing currently? Is it a shortage of fuel due to the Middle East crisis, or is it hoarding of fuel in bid to justify price hikes, which are up for review on the 14th of this month?
Thank you very much, and I hope you can hear me well. Just confirm to me.
We can hear you clearly. Proceed.
Excellent. Thank you very much. The current situation in the country, I think, can be attributed to two facts. They're not exclusive, they're inclusive. I think the first one is obviously because of the situation in the Middle East, there was a week or two when supplies could not come into the country, and the government-to-government deal, while still effective, had to source fuels from different places. In that period of time, normally, the stocks that are held in the country should be able to see us through, because switching around sources and then getting products into the country would normally take about 2 to 3 weeks. And I believe that what happened at the beginning was that they waited to see what would happen, and then they decided to look for sources elsewhere. And I think as we talk, there's fuel that has been sourced in India and in, I think, Belgium, that is on the high seas and should be hitting Kenya very shortly. There are other cargoes that were already also found by the G2G partners in the Middle East, which is basically Saudi Aramco, ADNOC, and INOC, because their role is to supply. And if we as Kenyans had behaved properly, we would probably have been able to go through that period with the existing stocks in the country. But what happens is, the minute people hear that there is a shortage in a particular petrol station, the word, and everybody rushes to say there's a shortage, and they go and buy everything that there is available. When that happens, the oil companies are unable to respond immediately, because they normally have a schedule for supplying the stations. So if everybody rushes out to buy, it is almost impossible for the oil companies to bring in 2,000 tankers and fill them and supply the fuel stations. So the fuel is in the country, but the problem is we, as the consumers, are buying like mad, expecting that there will be none, and then we have this artificial shortage. So I would say it is artificial. Yes, we're going to have a slight shortage, but we have brought this upon ourselves. I think that is really where we sit. We can't, I think the industry can't just all of a sudden fill everything when the consumer buys a lot. And I think for us, we should, as I think responsible consumers for now, seeing what is happening, stop hoarding. I mean, I had to buy fuel the other day. I'm actually up country, and I bought fuel, and I'm up country now, but half tank, and I said, okay, fine, I won't buy again until 2 days when I need to go back.
Okay, that's well noted, Obath. Panic buying leading to artificial shortage. But I'm pretty sure you're privy to information which is rather technical and confusing on this billion-shilling importation scandal. We've seen a lot of developments. Some of it has been politicized. But at the end of the day, we need to scrutinize this G2G deal and whether it will shield Kenyans from the inflating prices of fuel that has been characterized in various parts of the country due to the Middle East crisis. How would you sum up the handling of that particular scandal, even as you review the G2G deal and its benefits to Kenyans? Briefly.
The G2G deal, in terms of its pricing mechanism, is very clear. It is normally on a plus. And in fact, with the G2G deal, it's what is called a plus minus. So effectively, there is a certain discount that comes into because of the volume and the time. But then you have, on top of that, you have the shipping premium. But there's also another thing in the G2G deal, which is the 180-day payment period. So that financing cost has also got to be brought in, right? So if you put all that together, at certain times the G2G may be more expensive than if you go on the spot market, and at other times it is cheaper, depending on where each of those three elements, the shipping, the original cost, and the cost of finance in terms of the 180-day payment period will add to the price. As of the Middle East war, what will happen is that some of the fuel that was in tank and had been committed will be at a price that was that had been negotiated earlier. Because what happens here is you buy what is called on futures. You buy 3 weeks, 4 weeks in advance. So your price now is kept, but it will arrive in 2 to 3 weeks. We are now at a point where that 2 to 3 weeks ahead will change, because at that point in time, 4 weeks ago, the war started in the Middle East, and therefore prices began to go up at that time. So the imports that were then ordered, which will be arriving 3 to 4 weeks later, will be at a slight premium, slightly higher. But remember that the G2G deal means that the original fuel price that we get is slightly discounted compared to if we had to buy it on the spot market. So yes, it will go up because globally everything has gone up, but not by as much as it would have if we did not have the G2G. I hope that explains it.
Well, thank you so much, Patrick Obath. It's proper to get your insights, even as Kenyans